Imagine signing a check for $100 million, then realizing you have to sign that same check 56 times. That is the staggering reality behind HBO's 2026 reboot of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. We are witnessing the most expensive television project greenlit by a major studio. It crushes the previous records set by the Rings of Power, transitioning from a television show into an infrastructure project. But here's the fascinating part. Beneath the stunning visual effects and the sprawling new physical sets, there is a quiet, ruthless Cold War brewing. It is a bitter battle between a studio desperate to modernize a global legend and an audience clutching the warmth of the past. Why did Warner hand the wizarding world to Succession's creators? And how did that decision trigger the decade's biggest pop culture flashpoint? Let's break it down. To understand what is happening on screen, look at the boardroom. This series did not start with a sudden burst of creative inspiration. It began as a strict corporate mandate from Warner CEO David Zaslav. Following the commercial stagnation of the Fantastic Beasts franchise, the studio was terrified. They needed an anchor, something evergreen to justify the existence and capital expenditure of the Max streaming platform. So they threw out the traditional cinema model and embraced the infrastructure model. We're talking about $6 billion projected across 7 planned seasons. They poured over $1 billion into constructing a production hub in the UK. Why? Platform valuation. Max was sitting at over 130 million subscribers, and the executives needed a surefire engine to push them to 150 million. This show is that engine. It's a calculated move designed to be the ultimate subscriber trap, locking in a global audience for a literal decade. But how do you stretch a relatively short children's book into an 8-hour season of prestige television without boring everyone to tears? You hire Succession's showrunners. Enter Francesca Gardiner and director Mark Mylod. This was the studio's open secret to elevating the property. Gardiner identifies with Hermione's ambition. She represents a writer-led approach that refuses to patronize children. Mylod brings a big-picture perspective that prioritizes deep character vulnerability over sheer spectacle. They didn't want to make a shiny, fast-paced kids show. They wanted psychological depth, grounded realism, and moral duality. The studio made a fascinating choice. They expanded the canon to give the show that prestige ensemble feel. We're no longer just stuck inside Harry's point of view. We're spending time behind closed doors with the Hogwarts professors. We're watching Locke Pratt's Draco Malfoy evolve from two-dimensional bully into complex antagonist inside Malfoy Manor. There are even rumors of an omniscient narrator, potentially Tom Turner, being used to capture the whimsical internal monologue of the original text. They are delivering on the promise of book fidelity, bringing in elements the movies missed, like Peeves the Poltergeist, the Gryffindor vs. Hufflepuff Quidditch matches, and the full Prince's Tale backstory. Yet, the production was forced to slow its pace for mundane reasons. Strict UK child labor laws meant the 9 to 11-year-old leads could only film on a methodical, slow schedule. They had to stretch the narrative to match the physical aging of the actors, even filming the first 2 seasons back-to-back just to defend against the puberty risk. This slow-burn approach means those early Privet Drive episodes feel glacial to casual viewers, even if the lore-hungry diehards love the methodical pacing. Here's where it fractures. Critics are fawning over the grounded, naturalistic cinematography. They are praising the realistic chemistry of the new Golden Trio, McLaughlin, Stout, and Stanton. But the fans? They're experiencing intense remake fatigue. They're looking at the desaturated, dark lighting of the teaser and wondering where the war magic of the 2001 Chris Columbus film went. The audience vibe check is hostile toward this sterilized modern aesthetic. The visual effects from Framestore are going for functional realism, but early shots of Hogwarts Castle were still blasted for looking detached and video game-esque. If you love dissecting how giant studios gamble billions on our cultural nostalgia, stick around. But aesthetic choices aren't the real problem. Add in the heavy, dark cloud of the Rowling factor with highly publicized boycotts over her involvement as an executive producer, and the show becomes a political flashpoint before you even hit play. You have a bifurcated audience. Some fans are boycotting on ideological grounds, while the IP fundamentalists are policing the lore. What we have here is a divisive success. Warner pulled off an industrial triumph. They spent $100 million an episode, a project too big to fail. They remonetized a legacy property and bet on the fiscal future of their platform for the next decade. But creatively, it remains a fascinating cultural miscalculation. They sacrificed the whimsical soul of a beloved universe to feed the consistency of a corporate strategy. The studio feared alienating nostalgic fans, so they stuck to the old visual language, same Hogwarts Express, same Hagrid's coat, yet they stripped out John Williams' joyful score and replaced it with the serious motifs of Hans Zimmer. Forced prestige. It's the industrialization of nostalgia. It's a masterclass in risk mitigation that forgot magic. So when a corporate giant spends nearly $6 billion to perfectly optimize our nostalgia, do they end up destroying the exact magic that made us care in the first place?